Let's hit this. Thanks. Thanks for being here today, guys, on this very important press conference. Last week, after the City Council meeting, I felt compelled to call this press conference, a call to action for my fellow citizens, an update on what some may be aware of, but I can promise you most people remain completely unaware of what's really happening here at City Hall. As the mayor of the city of Pueblo, it is my job to keep you informed on progress and the sticking point between you and progress. I think I figured it out. While you, the taxpayers, are asleep after a long day's work or spending time with your families, City Council is undoing that hard work, destroying economic growth, disrespecting city staff and community partners, and violating the very values they swore to uphold. Not only as the mayor, but as a fellow citizen of the Pueblo community, I drive around Pueblo and see exactly what you see. I see the community hungry for economic development, neglected with blight throughout neighborhoods, and people looking for safety for themselves and their families. As a citizen, do you drive around this community and think, why can't we have what other communities have? Why can't we have the amenities that our neighbors up north or even our neighbors in Trinidad are cultivating? In a perfect world, we would have thriving jobs, safe parks, updated infrastructure, and projects that you could see that are improving your life. But instead, in reality here in Pueblo, your own elected officials are working against you and for their own interest. Let's be honest, it doesn't matter if there's a mayor in charge or a city manager in charge at this point. If these same people are sitting on city council, Pueblo will keep falling behind. The problem isn't the form of government, it's the dysfunction of the people running it, and I've had enough. Let's talk about those core values they like to talk about, because Pueblo deserves the truth. Accountability, ethical behavior, professionalism, responsive and respectful, service-oriented with a can-do attitude, transparency, and visionary leadership. As the government, we're stewards of your tax dollars and are tasked with making timely and informed decisions so we don't cost you all more in the long run. At last week's City Council meeting, a simple roof replacement was delayed for 6 weeks and then voted down, costing taxpayers thousands in repairs and risking hundreds of thousands more in damage to city equipment. The design work for those roofs has already been completed. Council asked for another opinion, which cost an additional $2,000 for review. Spent hours going back and forth with discussion, all to ultimately vote down the award of the contract. The city will now need to go back out for bid, which will take an additional 21 to 30 days for an RFP, and then we'll go back through the approval process through council. We need 4 new roofs for our wastewater treatment plant buildings. We have an insurance claim for the ice arena roof to be replaced. What should have been a routine roof replacement now will cost the taxpayers more, and the city stands to possibly lose $400,000 in insurance proceeds for the roof replacement and potential loss and damage to the expensive lab equipment. There's no way that you, the taxpayers, are encouraging your government to behave in this manner and misuse your hard-earned paychecks and investment in Pueblo. Ask yourself this: if this was your own roof, would you wait through the winter months, chance of snow, wind, and other damage to your own home? Or would you ensure you could safely protect your home? Yet, where is your government working on your behalf? Last week we saw yet another ethics complaint against a city councilor dismissed. Not one ethics violation has ever been investigated, every single one dismissed. Even when the city attorney said there was enough evidence to warrant an investigation in this case, council called it a political ploy. If ethics only apply when it's convenient, they don't exist at all. If there's nothing to hide, then why not prove it? Employees have filed HR complaints against city council, and now we have a grievance from one of our unions against a city councilor for a campaign violation. If we expect ethical behavior from those we do business with, why wouldn't we want to uphold our own elected officials? Every Monday, Pueblo watches elected officials berate and disrespect the very staff who keep the city running. Residents step up to the podium to share stories about how they've been treated with hostility by their own representatives. That's not leadership, that's unprofessional. This is the government. We have experts with credentials like multiple degrees, professional certificates, and experience so they can serve our citizens. Yet our city government officials know better. People who spend 6 to 7 hours one night a week voting and not attending their own board meetings are the people we should trust to make those decisions, rather than a professional engineer or someone with 25 years of experience working in municipal government. Someone you elected to serve for 4 years with no prior public service experience is somehow more of an expert. This city council doesn't show up to their own meetings. They don't show up to budget sessions that they have been invited to and make the final decision on. They don't do the work. Many people don't realize, but as mayor, I can only direct city staff to spend a single dollar without the approval of at least 4 city council members. How are we supposed to get city business done when they don't take their physical management rules seriously? We have elected government officials who harass dispatchers and police officers so aggressively that they filed complaints to the department's own suggestion box. We have a council member who harasses and has kicked citizens out or uninvited them to neighborhood meetings simply because they don't want the criticism. U.S. citizens have council members calling for the chief's resignation, yet demanding that 2 to 4 officers attend every city council meeting for their protection. Your government's job is to be concerned with public safety, not just the safety of themselves while inside City Hall. I've received phone calls and emails from individuals who have said they emailed their city council representative only to be ignored, or have you ever got a phone call returned? How is your government working for you? As part of a council member's jobs, you are appointed to serve on multiple city and county boards and commissions. The reason for that is so that elected officials can be educated about the role of these community boards and how the boards receive city funds up to hundreds of thousands of dollars. They use those funds to carry out the work they do for our community. When council members fail to participate actively on these boards and commissions they are appointed to, our citizens' voices are lost. This isn't service, it's sabotage. Instead of can do, it's won't do from these elected officials. Even after repeated warnings from the city attorney's office, we have elected government officials who continue to violate sunshine law, replying all to emails, making decisions outside of public view, and breaking the public's trust on how city business is being done. That's not transparency, that's corruption. The city has partnerships with organizations who should be accountable to the citizens because they are using taxpayer funds to do their work. Yet we have government officials who continue to sweep issues under the rug when we demand transparency. Who are you contracting with and why? Where are your taxpayer dollars going, and what is your return on investment? Your government would rather overlook year after year discrepancies, continued mismanagement, and unfulfilled aspirations because it's simply the way it has always been done. It suits people they know rather than caring about you, the taxpayer, and our community. Your government special interests are more important to you than the citizens. This year, we've seen continued stagnant growth. This administration has brought forth changes to help jumpstart economic growth as a solution to the problem. After multiple work sessions, stakeholder groups, and discussions, your government voted this progress down. They continue to stifle development. Surely, you as the citizens of Pueblo simply cannot know this because you would be as furious as I am and would demand more of your government. City Council votes down projects that would benefit Pueblo simply because they came from my office. Neighborhood revitalization projects like Your Idea, Your Neighborhood, which had citizens represented in every district to bring forward these initiatives. A child care center for city and county employees, plans to tear down long abandoned buildings like the old dog track and Converges. Council's deliberate sabotage of these projects costs our community development opportunities and future revenues. Now let's talk about your daily drive to work, to the grocery store, to take your kid to school, or wherever you're going. You might wonder, what is the city doing with this building, with a burnt-down roof and failing infrastructure? On last week's agenda, this project was asked to be delayed until a final vote in November. The Converges project came before council in April, and they asked for more information with the developer, which we brought forward last week by naming the prospective landowner, Circle K. City staff was pushed from an early October work session meeting to update council on the plans for more than a convenience store and offering market to residents who deeply need more fresh food and healthy options in their Bessemer neighborhood. Meanwhile, the Converges building has continued to deteriorate, incur calls for service from both the police and fire departments, and to be a general nuisance. The plans are to tear down the building and have Circle K build their new market, and then have the land ready for development for affordable or workforce housing that Pueblo desperately needs. This project would be paid for by remaining fund balances with demo funds, which date back to 2014. Is this money better justified to just stay in the city's account as it has for the last 11 years? Or should we use these funds to address the blighted property and assist the community with amenities and housing that they need? You tell me. Another project that was on last week's agenda, one that is long-standing and well-known on the boulevard, is the dog track. Last week, your government voted 4-3 to have this blighted property torn down because there is a developer with a plan for this 18 acres of property where this eyesore currently sits. That sounds like a win, right? Except your government now wants to reconsider this vote tonight during the regularly scheduled City Council work session meeting for a special vote because one of your government officials said that they voted incorrectly. This elected official incorrectly voted to have this blighted, torn down property taken down, where again the police and fire department are called to address the public nuisance for destruction, fires, looting, crime, and more. This is a bad idea. It's a bad idea to use American Rescue Plan Act interest and Pueblo Urban Renewal Authority funds allocated to address blight. Why does council need to reconsider this vote? Instead, your government wants to stifle progress, turn down development, and continue to have these eyesores plague our community. It's all a sleight of hand, right? Your government continues to question the public-private partnership, but offers no suggestions of its own. City Council has held 4 different vote reconsiderations in my time as the mayor. While I was on City Council for 2 years, there was not a single reconsideration brought forward. These elected officials representing this community came forward and asked the questions necessary before making a decision, not after. Now your government is wasting more time to stagnate the community. This is why developers come to us and say Pueblo isn't business friendly, or they complain about government red tape. Except these are things we can control. This isn't a delay for a permit or approval of plan designs. This is the delay for a vote to even begin. Since I became the mayor, this council has only passed 5 policy changes of their own. 5. One which has landed the city in a lawsuit. Every other initiative, every step forward has come from my administration and our professional city staff. This isn't about politics, this is about Pueblo's future, your future as a resident. Your government is supposed to protect our progress, not poison it. They're supposed to represent the people, not themselves. But week after week, we see the same dysfunction, the same disrespect, the same decay that Pueblo has held back. Economic growth doesn't survive in chaos. Businesses don't invest in dysfunction. And good employees don't stay where they're treated like dirt. This is how a city dies, not overnight, but meeting by meeting, ego by ego, and vote by vote. And I'm done watching it happen. So today I'm before you, asking you to stand with me. Puebloans should demand better, holding your government accountable. As a fellow elected official, I have shared my vision for Pueblo and allowed citizens, developers, business owners, and other officials to come to me when they disagree. This isn't about me as your mayor or not getting my way. This is about Pueblo and the progress for our community and how it's at risk. I'm asking you to show up to city council meetings, call your city council representative, email your district, and attend community meetings. Speak out, vote. We need you to ask for the accountability in your local government that you deserve. Your government clearly has forgotten who they work for, but I know you as the Puebloans haven't. This is our home, our community, and our future. We cannot let a handful of petty, power-hungry politicians destroy it. Pueblo is strong, Pueblo is proud, Pueblo is worth fighting for. Not only right now, but in the future. I'm not giving up, and I'm asking you to join me. Thank you for being here today. Take any questions if you have them.
Yeah, can you just talk a little bit more about kind of those light projects? You mentioned that one Circle K that was initially going to get approved and what that would kind of look like.
Sure. So the Circle K project, we took to City Council back in April. They voted it down. Said come to us when you can share more information. So we took it to City Council last week. They postponed the vote until the 27th. They're going to see it on first presentation. They're going to have a work session tonight, even though that they've been brought up to speed on the development, what's been going on. We've given them pictures, offered site tours. The building, the roof is caved in. It's an eyesore, it's a problem. And we have a path forward, and we have a public-private partnership that can alleviate some of this blight right here in our Bessemer community.
And so you're urging them to allow this to go forward, to take away some of those, like you said, the light.
Absolutely, I'm urging them to consider this on the City Council agenda on the 27th. There's 2 different ordinances that tie into this project. But also tonight on the agenda, you have a reconsideration for a very similar project, the old dog track that is has been terribly burned, vandalized, people living in it, broken windows, trash, it's boarded up. We have a similar proposal that came forward last week. It passed 4-3, but the city councilor, who was the deciding vote, asked for it to come under reconsideration tonight at city council's work session. I'm only guessing if you're asking your vote to be reconsidered, you're going to change your vote and the project will fail, and we will not be able to allocate those dollars to tear down that building.
Why is it important to do projects like this in the sense of tearing down those buildings, adding the Circle K? You mentioned housing, right?
Housing. The Circle K is also going to provide a small market. It's a food desert down in this Bessemer area across from Ray Aguilera Park. This is a need of the community. Housing is a need. New infrastructure is a need. I think that these projects are important because we are striving, to be catalysts when it comes to economic development. It's going to take the city of Pueblo to invest some money to help these developers come into our community. But when the developers come in and say, if you can help us with some of your demo funds get these projects, torn down, it shows that investment that the community is willing to make into these developers who are then going to dump millions of dollars into our community. So we'll have new businesses, new infrastructure, new housing. The Boulevard developer specifically is talking new hotels and new multifamily housing. Such a need for the community. But it's really asking the city, put your money where your mouth is. If you want to see investment, then let's have a public-private partnership. And these are some of the possibilities that I brought into City Council just in the last few weeks. One of them is probably going to be reconsidered tonight and voted down. And quite frankly, I just don't believe that the community knows this is happening, because I think that they would be just in an uproar about it.
Does this council have any justification for these actions?
I think last week somebody said that it was the phrase is, it's my sleight of hand. I'm not really sure what that means. Funny business or whatever, I'm guessing. But no actual reasons to not take these properties down. One of the properties, the funding was going to be used, the city's demo funds, right? We receive money from the federal government. We budget money in our budget every year to take down abandoned buildings. Another example of a building that the city has taken down that's similar to this is the Albany Church, if you're all familiar with it. Over by the Connect School and Vinmar Motor Company, that church burned down. The city spent $900,000 in taxpayer dollars to take that building down. That property is worth $30,000. It's not about tit for tat on, are we going to spend this $900,000 and be able to recover our funds? That's not what's going to happen. It's about taking the blight down and putting the land to a better use.
I know you have a lot of open sessions with the community, you open them in your office. Can you talk to me about some of the community's reports to you about these blighted locations?
Sure, especially when it comes to the developers or the people who are wanting to invest. Just like I said, you're driving around town, you're a citizen in the community, you drive by the dog track, it's hideous, you're like, the heck's the city doing? Who owns this building? How are you going to get it down? Can't the city do something about it? Well, here the city can. We want to. But you got to have buy-in from your city councilors. And unfortunately, I'm not getting that buy-in right now. The community is not getting that buy-in. I am sure every constituent that lives in the surrounding areas of Bessemer and the Boulevard who has to deal with these 2 pieces of property, the businesses that surround these areas, the developers who want to come into these areas, this is a great plan. This is a great project for the community. Why wouldn't you want it? That's what people come to my office and they say, what can we do? If they're aware that this is going on. We're having this conversation right now at 1 p.m., but typically these conversations take place at 1 a.m. That's why I'm having a press conference today, because I think the community needs to know that your government is holding up progress.
Why, can you talk to us about how that progress of removing these eyesores, these abandoned areas, could help improve the crime rates and unwanted illegal activities in those?
Yeah, so broken windows theory, you continuously hear the police chief come and talk about it. A broken window, a piece of trash, graffiti, they really start to be these magnets for crime, for the unhoused community, for fires, for illegal dumping. And that's exactly what we're seeing, not only at the dog track, but at the Convergys property. Their building is half burned down. If we could take it down, let's get it down.
Is there anything else you want to say to the people of Pueblo Palace when they come on board and help you out?
Yeah, I'm just saying that it's time to wake up. It's time to pay attention what's going on in City Hall, because I don't think that the community is aware. I don't think that the community is aware that there are proposals, that there are solutions, that there is an effort coming forward between some city councilors and the administration. I'm not going to say that this is the entire government, but I'm saying when a good idea comes forward, it is purposely voted down because they are trying to stifle this community. It's unfair, it's not needed, and Pueblo deserves better. Thanks.